The sticker that whoever made to cover your private parts was definitely invented by a man because it will never hold up. Like, a man invented this shit. I'm sure about that for sure. We're humans and it matters. But you just gotta show up and you have to be present.
I'm just gonna go ahead and create something over here.
Coming up next on Another Act, I sit down with actor Andra Day, who talks about how she absolutely transformed into legendary singer Billie Holiday.
Andra, how did this role come to you? How did you find it, or how did it find you?
I mean, it definitely found me. You know, it's interesting. You have found me and me, right? You know, because I never. I said no to this role like a few times, and because I was like, I'm not an actress. You know what I mean? That was the thing. It was like, I'm not an actor, and why would I do this? And I love Billie Holiday. I'm gonna mess up this movie. So I was just terrified. I was terrified of not being good enough. But then I met with Lee, and Lee didn't want to work with me either because he was like, no, I don't like being forced into stuff, and she's not an actress. No. So we both sat in this meeting, neither of us thinking we should be there, and then we just bonded. We talked about Billie, and then I found from him and from reading Susan Lloyd Park's amazing script that it was not a retelling of Lady Sings the Blues, but it was actually going to expose the fact that the entire government went after her, that she was public enemy number one for singing Strange Fruit, about a song about lynching in America, for integrating audiences, for just generally being a free Black queer woman, you know, and they wanted to stop her message. And they did it under a very, very racist war on drugs, right? The guise of a war on drugs. So once I found that out, it was really, as a fan of Billie Holiday's, it was exciting that we would be vindicating her legacy and that the world would finally know her as truly what she was, which is the godmother of civil rights.
Yeah, I really think that this story it's so unfamiliar to people. This is one of those experiences where you're going to walk out learning something and then, like I did, go down a deep, long rabbit hole. But what does the context of knowing that story, how did that maybe even alter, the artistry that you appreciated about her?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I was a fan of her music and her voice at a very young age, like 11. But as I got older, into like my teens and my early 20s, really coming to understand why they went after her, that they went after her, why they went after her. And I mean, especially at that young age, you still kind of believe what the government or what the media tells you about drugs. You know what I mean? Drugs are bad, and the people who do drugs are bad people. Well, typically when involves us, right? It's criminal.
Which one of my songs is your favorite song?
Strange Fruit.
Yeah, it's a song about important things, things that are going on in the country.
This Holiday woman's causing a lot of people to think the wrong things.
It's a starting gun for this so-called civil rights movement.
Those lyrics provoke people.
Y'all got a plan?
She's a drug addict.
Exactly. I cut Strange Fruit.
I want to sing the damn song.
It's for your own good, okay?
I sing it I want.
Southern trees
Get her off that stage.
bear strange fruit.
They won't let me sing nowhere. No clubs, no money, no nothing. You gotta understand, baby, right now I'm in a situation.
But you said we could beat this, Billy.
I need something now.
Blood on the leaves.
You're like a hammer, come right back and hit harder than before.
And blood.
She's singing it for all of us. Ain't no other Negro star bold enough to do it.
Black bodies swinging
I'm being followed. I'm not gonna cower to no feds.
in the southern breeze.
She's made something of herself, and you can't take it because she's strong, beautiful, and Black.
But understanding that she was singing Strange Fruit, she was singing about lynching in America, that she would integrate audiences, there's this correlation start to like pop up, and you go, oh, that's why they wanted her to be quiet. The same way they wanted Malcolm X to be quiet, or why they wanted Angela Davis and Assata Shakur, and why they wanted all of us to be quiet. And then simple things like her laugh, and her magnetism, and just the way she cussed, like so crazy. Like all of that just makes me love her even more. So, yeah, of course. And then the process of the movie, becoming her, it was like feeling her in these spaces and in these crevices of my body felt amazing. You know what I mean?
When did you feel like you really embodied Billie Holiday?
I don't know if it's even just that I felt most like her, but I enjoyed it the most being in her. You know what I mean? Was, just when she's like the way I would, how I'd be more comfortable with my friends and my family now. You know what I mean? So it was like smoking, definitely. I had to literally start smoking cigarettes for this role because it's interesting. I quit smoking at just the end of last year once we finished all the pickup shooting and everything. But if I were to pick up a cigarette today and smoke, the headspace that it puts me in, it makes me feel like her in a very interesting way, and just chilling and talking shit and laughing backstage with my band, or if we're trying to put a rehearsal together, you know what I mean, or book a gig. Those I think are the moments where I felt most loose and in her space.
And then out the gate, you get welcomed into this community by way of citation after citation after citation. Nominations are raining down on you, and we haven't even fully jumped into, awards season. Is that affirming for you?
I do this because I love it. And so I want to emphasize that. But I also understand the importance and the platform that it allows us in certain degrees. But I also understand the inequality in it and the lack of representation that we still have. So I'm extremely grateful. And it is definitely rewarding and gratifying. And it reminds me that just, if you really have faith, which I believe truly that if you have faith, God is so great. You work hard and walk in that sort of faith and elbow grease and blood, sweat and tears and all that.
So much of this film, so much of the story is centered on very important song, Strange Fruit. What was it like for you performing that song and performing it, quite frankly, with today's headlines in the backdrop of you performing a song that should have at least prevented the headlines that we're still seeing, in 2021?
Interestingly enough, so I mean, when we were making the film, it was at the end of 2019. So I hear people say, we shot the film and it was, you guys did the film before the whole George Floyd thing happened. And I'm like, yeah, but Tamir Rice had still happened. Trayvon Martin had still happened. Sandra Bland had still happened, right? Out in Sterling happened. And we had moments, the cast and I on set, and Lee and I, where we'd be doing a scene. And there were certain scenes that we were like, okay, so 1940s, we're in it, we're in the thick of it, and we're, and then there'd be scenes where we're like, yeah, we're in the 1940s, but it would be that quiet moment where everybody's sort of not saying what we're all thinking, which is like, shit, this is still happening. You know what I'm saying? This is not old. This is not, so it's sadly enough, this actually almost isn't even quite, other than like the wardrobe and some other details, it's not really a period piece like that, or just a long ass period we're in, you know what I mean? So it was interesting and it was painful too as well, that we're still dealing with these things, but it was also motivating to understand that Billie Holiday was shouldering this on her own. They were shouldering this on her own, her and her sort of adopted family. And it was motivating to see their strength and to realize that in this moment and with these headlines and with this backdrop, if she has the strength to do that, then we absolutely have to do it. And not because we just have a platform and not just because we happen to have some type of public familiarity or are known, but because we're humans and it matters to do the right thing and it matters to serve. So,
this role really challenged you to probably be more vulnerable than you ever would have thought you were even capable of doing. What was the scene in this film that required you to really go the distance with regard to vulnerability and to really just kind of shed any inhibitions that you had coming into this project as a musician who already has an established platform and really want to work through the script?
Yeah. I mean, listen, the reality is the whole thing was that, it was literally like an exercise and a boot camp in vulnerability, because every month, again, I had the awareness that I'm like, okay, I'm not an actor going into this, but you just got to show up and you have to be present. There's a very obvious one to me, hugely, the love scene with Jimmy Fletcher's character. And the scene, I mean, any scene where I had to take my clothes off, I was like, oh my God. It was like just an added layer of just like craziness. But it's so funny. It would do two things. It would my heart would be pounding where I feel like it was just going to pop. You know what I mean? But then there was also this other air, and that's when she would settle in and this like I mean, she was always set that she would take over is what I should say, because she was always settled and in there. It was kind of a looseness that was like, you know what I mean? And it was just that had to take over every time. And I just had to trust God in every one of these instances. And, with the love scene, it's just like, I feel her so much on that. First of all, it's just nerve wracking. Like I'm in a room and you ass and ass, not even butt ass, you just ass naked. You know what I mean? And like, also the sticker that whoever made to cover your private parts was definitely invented by a man, because it will never hold up. Like a man invented this shit. I'm sure about that for sure.
Yes.
And then you've got lighting people and gaffers and da-da-da. So there's at least like 6 other people. It's a closed set, but you still have to have a limited number of people on set to get the shot. And then there was the emotional. I understand what she feels like when she's ready to just, as we say, smash, you know what I'm saying? And like he goes, I want to make love. And it's like this idea that like it almost made me angry. Like, don't you dare, don't do that shit, because I know good and well you will not be here a year from now. I know you just want me to give you all of me and to be vulnerable so you can feel like you have control. And this shit goes on in my mind as a woman, you know what I mean? And so, but I will say I have to give so much credit to Lee, to Travante, to my friend, who was actually my creative director, but assisted me on set, Miriam Santos, and the crew. Everyone was so careful. No one took advantage. We didn't even take not one extra minute. You know what I mean? It was just, let's get exactly what we need in this short period of time and let's get out.
Yeah. How did this experience change you?
Oof, I mean, it changed me completely, honestly. It changed me completely. And it broke me in a lot of ways, definitely. And I was not willing to let it go. She broke me, and there were certain behaviors, right? There's certain things I wanted to hold on to her, certain freedoms and things I wanted to keep. But once you get back to real life, there's just certain behaviors and certain things that you go, all right, this is just not even healthy. You know what I mean? Like it worked on set when I'm playing Billie Holiday, but does not work in my life dealing with my mama.
Yeah.
So, but I think how it changed me, it liberated me. You know what I mean?
Fantastic. Continued success. This was such a great project for you. I can't wait to see what's next.